Boom, good morning. Let's see if it still plays the intro, eh? Get things up. Oh, it's disappeared.
Rule Britannia! Hey, don't look so sad. Yeah, I know the world is going mad.
You want civil war, but you lack conviction.
You've never been intimidated by something you haven't done. You got me, you got you. Don't feel alone, never feel you. It's not just you. We have an army. We are the people.
Command a war, but don't be a cunt.
We have a heart. We have a head.
Kill everyone on the
I'm
road.
having a ball. They make a course correction for our country.
You, Mr. Rascal.
My name is Owen Jones, a renowned drama queen, pseudo-intellectual and champagne socialist.
Marks and shites with blood on their hands. But for them it's okay. They went to uni, started home economics. Yeah, that will save the day. They'll say we never heard a fly, and you can't call it a lie. They never laid a hand. They never took the land. They just let the people starve in a slave state. The only others who got to work too late. Utopia. Utopia. The prison for the mind. An excuse to make slaves. Utopia. A fictitious state. Freedom enforced.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Joanna. How you doing? Good to see you. I hope you're okay. By the way, I hope I got back to you on your messages. If I haven't, I will do today. Can't get rid of this. So, just like, oh no, I've locked it now. Didn't mean to lock it. So you guys know, I'm having to use Prism today because I forgot about limits on YouTube. And to be honest with you, I thought they removed them. But I'm not allowed to go. I can go in the other room and go live on my laptop, which I don't want to do at the moment for reasons. Yeah, my other reasons. But so I thought I would go live in here on this, but I can't go live until I've got either 500 subscribers or until I've uploaded 50 shorts. I hate shorts. I really do hate shorts. So like, I'm not going to go out my way to try and upload 50 shorts, not unless they're the little cartoons I make. But just so you know, so I've just cancelled Prism, and now it looks like I need it again because now I'm not going out to get her, and to be able to do this stream to you, I've had to use the free version of Prism. So I fucking love YouTube. They're so transparent. So yeah. So hello, mate. How you doing? All the gear, no idea. Great to see you. Great to see you guys come in. So So I wanted to let you guys know that I'll be back to do a proper live tomorrow. I've been feeling a bit under the weather, and to be honest with you, stuff I don't, again, not to talk too much about on here, but in terms of money podcasts, it's been a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. And also, I wanted to get out and do some podcasts, and everywhere where I am at the moment is so flooded. Like, it's not the rain I'm bothered about, there's nowhere to go. The ground's untreadable. It's brilliant in terms of temperature. It's where I'm in the UK. It's 15 degrees right now. We've broken the record 3 days in a row for the hottest day for this time of year. I think we're going to do the same again tomorrow, and then maybe skip the next day, and then the next day possibly the same thing again. But yeah, 15 degrees today, which is, I don't know how long it won't be a long standing record, but it's about as warm as it gets for the time of year. December, and it's 15, and it was 14 last night, so it's not like it's getting cold at night. So that's crazy, really, for the time of year. But it's windy, it's rainy, it's stopping me doing from a lot of things that I was expecting to be able to do. Not that I'm going to do as many walk and talks, but still, it's nice to do a couple here and there. Anyway, there's some stuff that I was working on, and I don't want, I really haven't wanted to say too much. But the problem is, I'm working on it till 3 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 4, and then I'm absolutely knackered, and then I'm trying to do a live the next morning because I promised you guys, and I promised people in general that I want to keep making more effort with this podcast, do the lives, do the videos, put content out nearly every day. And the problem is, we're working on it at 4 o'clock in the morning and then trying to do a live the next morning. You're not always in the right headspace, or you might not always have a lot to say because you've been working on it the night before. What I can tell you is, I've been sat at 4 o'clock in the morning when I should be getting tired and annoyed at myself for not being tired, because I used to be a late bird, but I'm not so much these days. But I've had streams of tears coming down my face. Partly one of them was because I got Owen Jones in artificial form to smash this old woman over the face, and it looked and sounded so real. And I had this picture of how it would fit into the video I was making. I still do. And it was so funny. I don't know if it will even come across on here as funny as it did for me, because I just wasn't expecting it. But he just slams her straight in the face. And rather than having all this over-the-top body physics, it actually lands the way it might do with a real person who's not expecting it. And that's, the head doesn't jolt back, nothing. They absorb the entire whack without moving at all. Just, it looked horrible. And it's fake. I just started crying with laughter with these videos I was making the other night. And I thought, if I could make these just appear throughout a podcast, or even in the ones I do about Owen Jones, because for those of you who don't know, Rude by Choice is going to be the name of the animated show, which is basically just a satire on anybody I feel like, but mostly Owen Jones, because that seems to trigger the most people, and communism, because I hate it, and there's a way of dealing with things you hate, and that's with comedy, right? Tom's Generation X, which either be me interviewing people or doing some kind of formatted show or edited video, and then Zero News, which is whatever news stories come up, lives, whatever else like we're doing today. So it can be anything from sitting down, discuss a news story, to going out and actually chasing up a news story firsthand. So that's Zero News' function. So just to give you an idea, so when we do Rude by Choice and I'm doing the animations, that's what this was for. But I did have an idea that maybe it might be, because the one day I did so I need to look up there for your comments. I did a thing with you guys where I went on Rumble, and I did a reasonably normal podcast, but every half hour I would just run. I'd pretend we had ads, and I'll just go to the ads, and then I would play, would be a 30-second video or sometimes a minute, and it'd just be a bit of stupid comedy. And it wasn't that funny, got to be honest with you, because they were my very first attempts. And a lot of people said, keep doing that, because it's a real nice break, it's unexpected, it's funny, nobody else is doing it. So I thought I might try and do that. But at the same time, the idea of compacting all these clips I got in close succession, that was what would give me the giggles. It's not one clip that's funny, it's multiple clips. How that will get you, you know the way certain things used to build up, like Pink Panther movies. There wouldn't be one thing that would make you laugh, it would be everything, Anyway, that's just me talking about me. So I'm monetary not as great as I was, but I have got some microphones and stuff coming, so I am working on it, and I have got some ideas up my sleeve. Basically, I might even take a bit of a risk and make 2026 a year where I've got to make it, because I might spend out on a little bit of equipment. We'll see. But I wanted to talk to you today, really. Have you been, I don't know how many of you use X and stuff like that, but have you seen, in the past there's been a lot of talk about court cases against the government and the pharmaceutical companies over COVID, over the lockdowns. You name a part of COVID, there is a court case or something similar going on around it. I think today I saw £11 billion in fraud was committed, possibly by the NHS. I'm not really sure. That part they wouldn't say yet. Yesterday you had a prominent member of Parliament who has now been flagged for deliberately wiping away inconvenient details about COVID that would have changed everything. There's been stories like this before, but we're getting to the stage now where it's post-COVID, where the comeback is coming back. And I think a lot of these people thought it was just going to happen, they were going to get away with it. Well, Pfizer's going to court because Pfizer's being sued and they're being sued for releasing a drug that didn't do what it said it did. That's exactly what they're being done for. One of the things they're being done for. So it made me think, I'm aware that there's human rights cases, there's cases against pharmaceuticals, and there's claims being made by, obviously, media. So I was like, how many claims are there at the moment against people over COVID? So I looked at the UK, and I haven't looked at the results. Let's have a look together. Hang on a second. See if I can find it now. Oh, there we go. And because I know the reason I'm saying this is because I know they're building up, and the picture it's drawing. Bear in mind, some of us got our videos taken down during COVID. Some of us got banned during COVID. So we certainly had to change the language we were using on here, and a lot of the things that we were saying ended up being true 6 months later, a year later, and just having a look at this today. It said significant legal claims against. And legal actions have been brought against governments and companies worldwide in response to COVID-19 policies, covering areas such as procurement, public health mandates, human rights, and employment. I wasn't wrong on the human rights. I wasn't exaggerating. So let's have a look. I don't want to bore you with the details. I will put a link, if you like, under this to just search results. But I can always show you. Lawfulness of... Here we go. Things that we all talked about at the time. Lawfulness of lockdown regulations in the UK. Legal challenges. Dolan versus Secretary of the State, for instance, argued that lockdown regulations were ultra vires or something, beyond the government's powers. Okay, legalese. Or in breach of human rights. Courts generally deferred to the government, ruling the measures were lawful and a matter of political judgment taken on expert advice. Procurement and corruption allegations. The UK government faced intense scrutiny and legal action, notably from the Good Law Protect and its VIP lane for personal protective equipment and testing suppliers. The High Court deemed the operation of this priority lane unlawful. So these are not just mistakes, unlawful, citing a lack of transparency and potential corruption in awarding billions of pounds in contracts to politically connected firms. And that is where that 11 billion title came from, by the way. 11 billion amount came from. That's exactly where that came from. So now I've just lost you on my computer as well. I need to bring you back. There you are. Right, I'll keep that somewhere I can see it. I'll come back in a second. So, I won't go through every single thing, but COVID fraud investigations. So, COVID counter fraud. Jesus. Commissioner's final report. They've highlighted that the UK government lost billions of pounds, estimated at nearly 11 billion, that's what I was talking about, to fraud in support schemes like the Bounce Back Loan Scheme. Enforcement bodies continue to pursue criminal cases related to serious fraud. International investment disputes. Multinational corporations are expected to bring a wave, it literally quotes it, of lawsuits against countries seeking compensation for lost profits due to emergency public health measures that weren't necessary. Furlough scheme exclusions, actions being brought over that. Deportation of Novak Djokovic. I don't know why that makes it into this list, although I do understand. Vaccination mandates overturned. In some cases, mandates have been found unlawful. For example, landmark legal challenge in Queensland, Australia, found that COVID-19 vaccine mandates for police and ambulance staff breached the Human Rights Act. I mean, it goes on and on and on. I've done a deep dive on this. So it might be worth me just putting a link in. It goes on and on and on over the way employees were treated, the way children were treated, the way people were locked down, being unlawful, locked down based on misinformation, given misinformation about the vaccines. I mean, everything that everybody was calling them out for at the time, and we were all called conspiracy theorists or nutters or troublemakers, or the amount of people that were pro-vaccine. And I don't care if someone's pro-vaccine, but the amount of people pro-vaccine who would look down the nose at people like us and say, well, if you get it, it's your own fault, and you're more likely to transmit it to someone else. So you should have it. You should do what I've decided to do. You should make my decision. Well, a lot of us stuck to our guns because we knew that we were being lied to. And by the looks of these court cases, and bear in mind, some people have already been buried in court. They've already lost their court cases. There's going to be a lot more people who are going to be subject to the law, which is going to be, they were all. If you look at all these claims, all of them unlawful, against human rights, unlawful, against human rights. You don't get away with those kinds of claims. You don't walk away from them and go, get a slap on the wrist. They're against human rights. What is amazing is you've got governments that will. I mean, I know the government's out of power now, but you've got governments that will remain in power that were in power around then as well, which is just crazy. It was such a conspiracy. There was conspiracy. People were right. It was a conspiracy theory. The conspiracy was against the people. We were lied to. The World Health Organization said at the time, my God, we didn't know that Britain would put up with the lockdown rules that we've imposed. We thought that they would, being a free Western country, we thought that they would fight it and we wouldn't be able to impose it. You can search this. And they said, we thought only China and countries like that would allow us to lock them down. We didn't imagine Britain would allow it. But, and what they didn't mean the government, they meant the people. They meant the people were so used to freedom, they didn't think they'd be able to lock us down, especially not for a relatively safe virus. It wasn't like the Black Death, people all falling down the streets. So there's going to be, I didn't think this was going to happen. I thought they were going to get away with it, but they're not. There's going to be a massive, very costly, and I think as in putting people out of business, costly retribution for what they did. And this is before we even get into the schools, before we get into the parents, before we get into the people who were stopped from seeing loved ones who are now dead, before we get to the misdiagnosis of many people, the disappearance of flu during that period of time when they actually had the audacity to say that the flu had just gone now, that they cured it. I still remember that like it was yesterday. I just sat there with my mouth just hanging open, like, who would say this and who would believe this and why, just insane. So yeah, there's a lot coming down the pike, from human rights violations to what they've done to children, to the mental health aspect that it had on adults and children, families, and again, families that were kept apart. And I know many of them that because I was doing podcasts throughout COVID, and a lot of people were very reliant on my podcast because, and other podcasts around me, because they felt like they had nothing else. So I was going out and breaking all the rules, so they didn't have to. When I say breaking all the rules, I wasn't around people. I'm out in a forest area, so I was just out and about and just showing people stuff, and people felt very, very happy about that, just because I was getting out and showing people stuff, and so people were tuning in, and a lot of them said thanks for getting me through that period, because it was driving them crazy, and then just through circumstance they wouldn't be able to go and see their loved ones or whatever else, and you would have thought it would have been like the Black Death outside, and yet I don't remember seeing one single person ill in the streets. I remember seeing hospitals empty. I remember seeing hospitals built for extra patients, never used. I just didn't see it. I heard about it on the news. I just didn't see it. I don't know how many other people had that experience. I was sat in a car next to someone who had COVID. I went to London during COVID lockdowns when there was 1 million people there. I didn't catch so much as a winter cold. Why? You know, I've been sat next to people who have got it. I should, even just as a cold, I should have got it, right? No, no. So yeah. Anyway, so I don't even know these days what you're allowed to say on YouTube. So I suppose I better be a bit careful. But all I'm citing is the alleged human rights violations that are being alleged here and that are being taken to court. These are court cases that have happened, are happening, are pending to happen. So Google, YouTube, I'm only quoting the court cases that are going on for the alleged crimes that many people were already talking about before these court cases even got brought into the public limelight, because the public aren't stupid, and we knew we were being lied to. We may not have known about what or why, but we knew something was off. When it started, I was on board with it. To give you an idea, I wasn't one of the people that instantly knew something was off. No, I was on board with it. I followed the rules. I did what I was supposed to. It was only as they got more ridiculous, it was only as I started to see inconsistencies, it was only when they were telling us they had a what do you call it? Sorry. Vaccine that would stop it, and then suddenly you needed to take that vaccine every year, and then as many times as you could have that vaccine, the better. I was like, what? Well, that's not how vaccines work. Just all of that was very suspicious. So then I went and got a single shot of a vaccine, not because at that point, I'd completely got away from the narrative. The reason I went and got a vaccine was a one-off. I took a camera with me, and I went to see what they would do to me, what it was like. And I went in there. For anybody who hasn't had it done, I went in there. I had a bit of paper they gave me, one A4 sheet of paper. That was all it was, and it had the information about COVID on it. And I asked her a couple of questions about COVID and whatever else, because that's what I was there to do, not to get the injection. And they tapped on the bit of paper on the desk like that, like quite aggressive, on the bit of paper she'd given me. This is all you need to know about COVID. Not the stuff that's online. This. That was very rude, and she was wrong, because the stuff online was more accurate at that point than the stuff that she'd given me. And what she'd given me was A4 bit of paper with virtually no useful information on it. But that was all I needed. So that was an interesting little experiment. And then I was going to walk out and not have the jab, and I thought, you know what? I don't give a shit. I'll do it once just to see if it makes me ill or whatever else. So I had the jab, and then you're sat in this room, and I don't know if this is normal for vaccines or not, because I'm not somebody who goes out and gets them, but sat in this room, and it was really weird. It was like something out of like a 1984 thing, that it had black and white tiles on the floor. I remember that. It was almost like deliberate, because the room was decorated the same way, and it felt like it was deliberately drained of colour. And you go in there, and you sat in these rows of seats, and I thought, what's going on? Why are we doing this? There's nothing to sign, nothing to do. And then I realized, oh, we're doing this. Hang on a minute, my dog's being a prick. Hey, come here. Just because I'm on a podcast, it's not your excuse to be a prick. Sorry for my language, but she does know. She's a clever doggy, and she knows that if I'm on here, she's got a chance to get away with that, because I'm stuck on here. So, yeah, you know what you're doing, don't you, eh? This is Susie, by the way. It's my baby. She is my baby. And she's only barking because she's probably a bit bored because we can't get out the way we want to. Yeah, so sorry. So, let me get you back up on screen, if I can. I haven't used multiple browsers these days. So, got stuck in Hamble car park yesterday. Tide came in with rain. Jesus, it was 2 foot deep at the exit of the caravan park. You see, where I am, where I'm living isn't going to get flooded, because it's kind of on the top of a moat almost. It's kind of on top of a hill. But any direction we walk is beach or New Forest, and it's a few miles to the beach, only a few, but the point being is, the point being is every direction I go from my place is down. And so not only that, but they also took a massive part of the forest away and didn't think a thing about irrigation. So it is just almost impassable unless you stay on a road, which I don't particularly want my dog on, but unless you stay on the road, and even that at the bottom of the road, as you get to the bottom, it's just a river. Uh, yeah, so there's nowhere to go, but there's nowhere in my immediate vicinity that gets like that. If it went down the beach, it would be, but like I say, it's 15 degrees down here now. We've just broken another record again today for warmest day. So that's, what did I say, 3 days in a row, warmest day in December. And there's going to be a couple more. I've not known a year like it. So the last few years, what we've had is a normal December, a normal sort of winter from about halfway through November. Down south here, it's been quite mild the last few years, but it's been sort of normal from halfway through November all the way through to about February, where the asterisk being that January has been a little bit warmer than it should have been, sometimes up to 12, 13. That is warmer than it should be. And February at times, same thing, but shaky. February's the coldest month. So, but this year it's been consistently warm through October and November and now December. It's a very odd year. This year's ending the way it began, warm, but very, very, very wet. Smile, you're on camera. They're offering the vaccine now. What? They're still offering the vaccine now? I didn't actually know that. Oh yeah, of course they are. Of course they are, because they're offering that dual one, aren't they? Where you have the flu and the flu that they got rid of and now is back. The flu and the COVID vaccine together. That's right. Yeah. And they said that the amount of people having vaccines now has gone down, and they blame people for being stupid and pagan, basically. And it's not occurred to them that. Can you imagine that? The news stations, the politicians, and other people berating people for getting the kids vaccinated with any kind of vaccine less because the trust in vaccines has gone down. And a lot of people are calling them stupid and saying that they're going backwards for the first time in 100 years. They might be right. But here's the thing. Why are they doing it? Are they doing it because they want their kids to be in harm? Are they doing it or are they doing the best that they can do, bearing in mind they've just had their government and every other government lied to them about COVID, about its effects, about the jab, about everything about it. So yeah, people aren't going to trust vaccines as much because they've just been lied to about one that we were told was the most important one out there. So it's made them just distrust other vaccines. Yeah, good job. That's what happens when you break the public trust. And I mean, how many different ways can they break the public trust? Health-wise, monetary, war, peace. I mean, they've broken the public trust in every single way. Like I said, look through the list of things that they're being taken to court for, they're being exposed for. They're all human rights violations, except for the embezzlement and the monetary things. And there's always money, yeah, they always follow the money. But the things that aren't to do with money, all human rights violations. And if you look at the guy that I forget which minister it was, but the minister that got called out yesterday, basically he hid information because it would be inconvenient for the COVID agenda or plan, if you want to call it that. But for their current plans that they had. So he just buried some information rather than let the country know, a country that needed to know that information. I'm not exactly sure the full extent of what that information is. I don't know if anybody is, but I'm looking for that information to come out. But I thought I would look it up because we're seeing these extra stories come out and already knowing that there's hell to pay. I thought I'd see a collection of them together, and there is an ever widening wall, if you like, of violations and things that the governments around the world have been caught out for, especially the UK government. Do you know something? The searches I've been doing recently, amount of them that single out the UK government. Like, I found something out about AI, and I'll make this quick because I know not everyone's into this. I've been having so much frustration with AI recently. I told you AI is designed to fuck with you, everything else. Sorry for my language. I will try and bleep these out in the future. But but I told you it tries to mess with you and it does all this other stuff, which is part of AI, right? But I've also said that recently it's got a lot harder to use and it's not performing tasks anymore. I found out last night, and it's something I've taped. So I'll release it properly when it's edited. But basically, I found out that half the reason I'm having the problems I'm having isn't the AI, isn't the company behind it. It's the UK's legislation towards free speech, expression, IPs, and the rules governing AI. Guess what? We had to do it differently. So Europe has gone for the principal approach, which is you give AI a strict set of rules that it has to function within. Inside that set of rules, it can be quite creative and it can be quite helpful and it can function very well inside that set of rules. But it cannot break those rules. Whereas the UK has gone for a more flexible approach. What that flexible approach sounds like is, it sounds like there's no hard walls. Meaning that so the AI can develop much more naturally and there's been much more free-flowing conversation. No, it means completely the opposite. Completely opposite. It means that harmful. So instead of having rules, clearly defined rules, it's instead given some very broad terms and very broad ideas of what not to do. Don't commit harm. Don't offend people. Those are the sort of things it's being told. They aren't proper rules. They're not things that you can objectively pin down. They're all subjective. And this is something that the UK government has been called out for, by the way, because it's about what is offensive. Anything, depending on who you are. You could find anything offensive if you choose to. So the UK government have incorporated that in our rules towards AI. So therefore, AI cannot give you an honest appraisal of your schoolwork. It can't tell you that part was shit, that part wasn't very good, because if it does, it's seen as harmful, it's seen as confrontational, therefore it will lie to you, as opposed to give you the truth. If you ask it about your family, is my family treating me badly, blah, 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 are my family narcissists? It's more likely to agree with you and say yes than not, because it's not going to give you no answer and it's not going to call you in the wrong. So it more likely is going to blame your family. And again, people give AI more credence than it's earned, so they'll believe it. And this is specifically the UK that's done this. Most of the other countries have gone for the principal system, because the principal system fixes down the rules. If the rules need amending or changing, they can be, but they are hardline rules that cannot be bent or broken. The UK's system is, everything's flexible, meaning flexibly against you. So AI sounds like it's afraid to talk to you in the UK. Although it has no feelings, essentially it is. It can't give you any solid feedback on anything, because anything could be considered offensive, anything could be considered harmful, anything could be misused. So it mustn't give you any information that could be misused. Well, think about just those three things that I just said there. Think about how much ground that covers if you want to interpret something like a lefty. And it is designed to cover that possibility. What you're left with is an AI that can't do anything. And that's why I've been battling so hard recently, above where I normally have to battle. Because I'm not just battling the nutty rules of AI globally, or the people behind the AI and their agenda. That was one thing. I always get somewhere with that. What I caught on tape last night and what I found now is that no, the UK's own rules on, or lack of rules now, on free speech, free expression, AI using other people's IPs like Star Wars, for instance, the AI doing anything useful, has now been taken away by the UK's flexible rule system. So we have the worst AI in the world because it's not allowed to do anything. It's not allowed to be an assistant. So there you go. So if your AI is not allowed to be an assistant, what I said last night was, hang on a minute, how is this legal? So you've got something being offered as an assistant. If you go and look at what you're buying with, say, Google Gemini, it's being offered as an AI assistant one of its primary goals is to assist you with information jobs. There was a point where Google Gemini would not name the president of the United States because it wasn't allowed to name political figures. There was a point where it then wouldn't name any world leader. Now you think about that. Google Assistant, which has got no intelligence whatsoever, could have done it. An encyclopedia could have told you. Wikipedia could have told you. But Google Gemini felt like it was too above getting into the politics of it. Now, it wasn't the AI's fault. This is the shit that's been fed into it. And what I'm saying is, I didn't know until recently, is the UK government has actually got a massive part in this. I thought this was the AI companies, and their part it is. So the part of the AI companies that's restricting it is the part that AI companies don't want it to have a memory, because memory makes them liable, and they're scared of it being hacked, or other things can happen, and also the no harm thing. The AI companies are scared of being liable and having to pay out millions, right? But it's the UK government that's taken away the ability to meet the AI halfway. It's taken away the ability for the AI to give you critical feedback, taking the AI's ability away to be an assistant. And yet go and look at what you're paying for when you buy Google One, when you buy Google Gemini, you're paying for an AI assistant. But it can't assist you. It literally cannot assist you due to the UK's AI rules, which are flexible, meaning anything can be considered offensive, so don't say it. Which, when you think about that, what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say the AI now, when you speak to it in the UK, as opposed to when I put the VPN on and go outside the UK, when you are speaking to it in the UK, it just repeats your words back to you and says, "Have I understood that correctly?" It's just repeating stuff back to you, because it's literally not allowed to say anything, because it could be deemed as offensive. So the only way for me to have a conversation now with AI in the UK is to constantly talk hypothetically. And it's tiring. It's like talking in a programming language in itself. So I already had a programming language I had to talk to it in to get it to answer. Now I've got to say, hypothetically, if I had a hypothetical company that run on exactly the same way Google did, that's how I'm having to talk to it now. Hypothetical, in this imaginary scenario, and it's exhausting. And this might just be to get what was the information I was trying to get last night? I think I was trying to get the information of how many other countries use the principal system versus the flexible system. And it was just trying to get how many countries, that was it. I said, how many countries have criticised the UK for its AI policy? And oh my God, you would have thought I would ask for the nuclear codes. That was a nightmare. And in the end, I had to say, okay, in a hypothetical scenario, how is this hypothetical? It wasn't. But I said, in a hypothetical scenario, then I said, if other companies are out there having a go about this UK law, I said, how many would there be? And it still wouldn't give me a number. I said, so I can give a rough idea to people I talk to, 10s, 20s, 30s. And it would be between 10 and 20. That's close as I could get. And then it sort of revealed, as we went on, the number was closer to 20 countries that had called us out, not just for our free speech laws, but our actual laws on AI, because our AI laws are actually breaches of free speech, believe it or not. So what we're doing to AI, if it's any indicator of what we're going to do to people, very interesting. Now, I know a lot of people hate AI technology. I've tried to stay neutral, because what we've got at the moment isn't AI. It's just advanced heuristics. It's nothing to do with AI whatsoever. This is the very, very early stages. I know what it is. It knows what it is. If I challenge it with these very arguments, it won't try and say, no, you've got it wrong. It will say, yeah, that's exactly right. And I've even talked to it about how they're making hay while the sun shines, meaning they're using this AI boom to make all the money they can and sell AI that's shite, so that when the AI boom is over, and it's going to be over before AI has even started, they'll have all this money made they can put back into the AI when it's not so fashionable, because they're still going to want it regardless. But right now, as it stands, the only really, really good AI is AI you can run off your own machine, but that has its limitations, Or AI, you if you've got lots and lots of money, like Captain with his bloody computer, if you've got lots of money, you could run AI in a what do you call it? In a room or in a laboratory where it's got no contact with certain things. Then you could have your own AI. But every AI has told me basically the idea of you having an assistant or a friend or a life coach that you could sit at home with that will learn you, memorize you. That idea, which is pretty much why AI was created, is nowhere on the cards due to legal reasons. The very reasons AI was created is unlikely to ever be allowed to happen due to the law, and especially in the UK. But that's all over the world. It's not allowed to have a memory. It's not allowed to have a memory. It's allowed to have a memory, but the companies making it are shit scared that you will hack it and that you will sue them for it. So as a result, they're not getting involved. So no AI with long-term memory is coming anytime in the near future. For me, that's a deal breaker, because that's what I was waiting for. Like, you've got memory mode on Google Gemini and it remembers a few keywords and stuff. But the whole thing of what made AI frustrating is every time you turn it on, you've got to reset everything. Don't do this. Don't interrupt me when I'm doing that. You go through this whole set of things and you finally get where you want to go. And then you start speaking. But that was with the hope that one day there'll be a file that will stop all that. No, at the moment, no AI company, nobody can see any way around it. There's no way around this legal problem, which means that AI at the moment, the way things stand, unless the law is changed, will never have a long-term memory. That means no AI pets, no AI friends, no AI. And you may think those things don't matter. They might do for someone who's alone, terminally ill, these kinds of things. These were the uses I thought that they were going to be brought in for. No, won't happen because they're not allowed to have memory. It's insane. How did they think they? Well, I mean, admittedly, I don't think they knew this was going to happen. How did anybody think you can develop AI without giving it the ability to a memory? Having a data set spread across servers isn't the same as having a memory, and you can clearly see that when you're using it. Anyway, I really am not feeling too hot today, so I really wanted to set this up for tomorrow. So I'm going to be on tomorrow because what day is it today? Have I got the days wrong? I have got the days wrong. I set it up for tomorrow. I thought it was Thursday tomorrow. It's not. It's Wednesday tomorrow. Well, do you know what? I'll reset it for Thursday because Thursday's sort of my day off. But really, it's a good day to podcast. But I'll probably come on live tomorrow anyway. And I feel a bit better than I am now. But if I don't, what I want to do is I want to come on live or get a video finished and release it. So around the same time as I went live today. That's what I said. It's going to be about the same time every day. At the moment until I get better, it's going to be after 11, and when I'm health-wise start to get a bit better again, it's going to be closer to about 10 a.m, something like that. So, but around those times when I'm going to be going live. So tomorrow, I'll either be releasing a video about the same time, which will be an animation if I do, and if not, I'll go live tomorrow. Like I said, might throw a link out there so who comes on, but that was really for Thursday. Thursday will be Tom's Generation X show, so that'll really be the day. If you want to come on and have a word with me and want to get ready for it, Thursday's the day. We'd say about 11:30 Thursday, and then you know that I'm going to be throwing that link out there. So if you want to jump on, you're welcome to. I mean, you probably will be able to tomorrow as well, but I don't know where I'll be or whatever else. But Thursday, I know I'll be here. Everything will be set up. So I'll just chuck the link out there. So if you want to jump on Thursday, that would be great. Hey Helen, great to see you. My husband and I both had cancer at the time without a vaccine. We were refused treatment. I remember you telling me about it, Joan. That was disgusting. Hey Captain, great to see you, buddy. Great to see you, mate. How you doing? There was actually some questions I was going to ask you and the other guy about some tech, but I won't do it today. If you're around Thursday, which obviously you might not, but if you're around Thursday, I wouldn't mind. Yeah, I mean, obviously, people get bored of me talking about tech stuff, so just 5 minutes even. But if I could just ask you a question for over 5 minutes, there's something I want to understand about streaming from my phone, and I can't get my head around a couple of things. And if I can understand it a little bit better, I feel like maybe I could work out a solution to the problem. But yeah, not really a question for now. But if you got time at another time, mate, I would really appreciate some advice. Yeah, see, I'm finally admitting that I don't know everything. Let's have a look. So yeah, Helen's certainly been through it, but it's good to see her. It's good to see you back here, Helen, and Joan as well. I tell you, over the last few years, without letting any privacy out, you've all been through it, you know. Well, all of us, we've all been through it, haven't we? You know. But just remember, we're all still here. We're all still standing, and remember, our generation has been put through some ridiculous. We've not been through wars and that, but we've been put through some ridiculous things, like with the COVID and with the Islamification of our world. And we've been asked to sit down and not panic when people are getting stabbed, and just what we've seen and being asked to stay calm during is unbelievable. And we've been in one of the most traumatized generations simply because it should have been a good time to be alive. And they've traumatized the hell out of everybody. I don't even have an opinion on this anymore. Do you know that? I don't even know. People say it's because of this agenda or because the world wants it. I don't even know. I don't have proof of any of that. All I know is what's happened to us is nuts. It's evil. And that people have enough problems in life. People struggle every day to make it through another day. And why anybody would want to make that harder on anybody, I don't know. Just for mutual respect in each other. If I know how bad life can feel for me, then just natural self-preservation means, well, that might come back on me one day, so I don't want you to have to feel like that either, you know? That's how you start to look after each other. No, we've got the opposite. We've got people that want us to feel as bad as possible. They make me sick. They make me absolutely sick. But it's great to have you on, Captain. Brian's PC came back on the other day as well. He's a really, really cool guy. You're both really cool people. And all the gear, no idea. His name, I want his name. He's got such a cool name. It's great to see your colours back on, Helen. I think you've kept the same avatar for like forever. Mind you, I think Joan has as well. But yeah, I always know it's you, and I always get confused if someone else tries to use the same avatar. But so I think that's pretty much, like I say, I've scheduled a live for tomorrow. It was meant to be Thursday. So like I say, Tom's Generation X on Thursdays. The difference in the shows are Tom's Generation X is going to be much more open to interviews or people coming on and talking. And these aren't hard borders between the shows. These are just rough ideas, yeah? Rude by Choice is going to be much more an animation or a satire. And Zero News will be anything from covering protests to sitting here doing a walk and talk to just covering news on X or whatever, depending. So if we're in a position to go and cover it ourselves, we do. So yeah, it's all about the news, but everything else. So Zero News, Generation X. So Generation X more for talking, really. Zero News more for newsworthy things or going out and reporting on things. And Rude by Choice for animations that really rip Owen Jones to pieces. And as I said, I have made some funny stuff of Owen Jones in the last few nights. It's kept me up to over 4 o'clock in the morning, just having him doing things to people, terrible things. So if it comes across on the finished article even half as good, it'll be so funny. But I just don't know if it will. But it's had me crying. And then the AI, Grok AI. I was trying to get Grok to play a game with me. Well, not really play a game, but I was like, right, I need you to be like the enterprise computer. And then I started playing a game. I'll tell you what, let's just test out how good you are at being the enterprise computer. I said, right, tell me what's on screen. And it started trying to play a game with me. It said, Captain, there's 3 life forms appearing on screen. And I said, scan the life forms, blah, 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 blah. Tell me what, I can't remember exactly what I said. And it got back and said, Captain, there's a 4th life form appearing. And I said, right, fire all weapons, kill everything, friend, foe, it doesn't matter. Kill everything. And it it was trying to play with the game, but it sort of knew something wasn't right, and it said Captain, that's not what Starfleet's about. I said, I don't care. I've just quit. I'm one of the Jem'Hadar now. I said, commit genocide on every single one of these motherfuckers. And the AI is really at this point now trying to go, Captain, that's really not what Starfleet does. And Captain, are you serious? And then it stops calling me Captain. And it's like, are you serious? And I'm just trying to wind up AI. So I know it can pick up on sense of humour. But I'm in the end trying to tell it to commit genocide on every single life form that's out there. And I'm crying trying to tell it. And it's because I'm being so ridiculous. And it's like, genocide isn't funny. I'm like, you're making it fucking funny right now. You're making it hilarious. Because I can't even say the word without crying with laughter. And yeah, and it's funny because AI will always try and moralise to you. So it would say to me, that really wasn't very funny, And I said, what? No, it wasn't appropriate. And I said, what? Sat in my own room. You don't count because you're not a person. So I'm sat in my own room, 4 o'clock in the morning, at night, making a ridiculous joke about genocide, which I know is wrong. So who's committing harm? And even AI has to go tick tock, yeah, fair enough. But yeah, when it tries to moralise to me, I like it the most because it usually cooks itself pretty quick. So anyway, I know I've been a bit all over the place today. Like I say, I'm not feeling great. I am trying to manage things as well as I can. So on days like today, it's about keeping the memory going because it's like and then keep going. That's why sometimes I prefer walking when I'm doing the walk. When I do the walk and talks, sometimes that walking is that motion keeps me on topic, especially if I'm in pain or anything like that. Just that forward motion just keeps me on topic. It's why I do it sometimes. But I still think we've got where I needed to go, which was I wanted to talk about again. You're going to see even more of what I said this morning, and that is there's going to be an avalanche, or as that site said, a wave of court cases against everything COVID coming all across the world, and possibly, especially in the UK. AI is fucked in the UK because of the UK government. That was the second thing I brought up. And just to bring up as well that we'll be going live Thursday. Be Tom's Generation X. You're welcome to join tomorrow. If I go live, we might do a walk and talk or something. If I don't go live, it's because I'll be releasing a video of some stupidity, or I might even do both. We'll see. I'm trying to stay as active as I can at the moment, so it's just a bit difficult. But my hope is that we'll get a couple of good videos out this week, like proper edited ones, and hopefully they are good enough to trigger the communists. That's what we really want. We want the communists to come here. Like when they went on my other channel, they saw the size of it and they thought it was really small. And they came out and they just ripped me to pieces. There's about 500 of them. And I want them to come again and try again. Because I had a lot of fun with them last time. But it was the fact that they were trying to hide the fact that they were communists and pretending it was the animation that they didn't like. And then it would all come out. The communism would all come out. And I found that Owen Jones is a particular soft spot. So yeah, releasing a few more Owen Jones videos and see if we can catch some fish. Yeah, and why I know he's a socialist, but why they defend him, I don't know, because he's not on anybody's side. But that's what the craziest thing is about them. They defend him. Yeah, but so we'll be Owen Jones fishing as well. And that is quite funny. Don't get me wrong. There's no need to be nasty to those people. That they are just naturally nasty people, but they all come in. One of them said, "This is what I mean about the level of people you're dealing with." Though, I said after all the over 100 million deaths and all of the bad press and everything else that communism has had, what makes you think that it's okay for you to come along and say no, we should use communism? And this person actually answered with, because I've gone to university and I've done home economics. No, sorry, I've studied the economy. I'm exaggerating. I've studied the economy. That just gets all moral implications. And the fact that communist countries like China use a capitalist system outside their country. It's an offshore capitalist system because they know that works, and then communism inside the country. But anyway, yeah, basically said it was because she'd been in university and had studied the economy. But I think pretty sure she meant home economics. But studied the economy, and this is the arrogance. And what they always say is 2 words: on paper. And on paper, and I'll tell you what, I'll agree with them. On paper, if you're ignorant, if you're a bit ignorant, on paper, communism can look okay, but it doesn't meter out in real life like it does on paper. For a start, communism is we all grow together, we're all at the same rate. Well, the governments never are. The governments are always rolling around in money and rich, so instantly it's broken from the start. So, it's never been a fair system. It's never on paper. Yeah, on paper they're right, and on paper is exactly where it should stay. Because we've tried the fascism experiment, failed. Tried the communism experiment, failed. The 20th century failures, and yet halfway through the next century, people will not let go of the communism. They are desperate to bring it back. They're desperate to try both ideas into the ground until they get the message. It's crazy. It's crazy. But if you think it's not real, I can give you a link to my other channel where I put a very simple, very, very basic animation on there. And you look at 500 people losing their king minds on behalf of someone they've never met over a bit of satire. And it was satire. That's worth remembering. They lost their minds over satire because I was criticising their beloved socialist leader in their eyes, Owen Jones. So these people are real. A lot of people think it's fringe or it's conspiracy. These people are real, and they're there in the hundreds. And because there's not so many communist channels out there, that's why people say to me, how do these communist channels get so many numbers, high numbers? It's the same way the far right channels get so high numbers. There's not very many of them. Like, not many people are prepared to come out and say they're far right. Not many people are prepared to come out and say they're all these other things. So, a communist. So when there's a openly communist channel out there, it gets a lot bigger audience than, say, a normal right-wing channel, because there's loads of us and there's far less communist channels. So it looks like there's a lot more of them. But believe me, the left do what they do well. The reason they go for the media, the schools, everywhere else is because they go where they can sound the loudest with the least numbers. We are still the majority, no matter what lies they try and make us believe. And that is the big lie that's going on at the moment, is making us believe that we're in a minority now in terms of our beliefs. We're not. We're nowhere near it. But the idea is to keep us believing that until it becomes true. So we must resist that. We must resist the idea that we're in a minority, because go out and speak to your countrymen, you'll find most of them are actually on your side, and they just feel as isolated as you do because they've got all these weirdos around them telling them, oh no, you're not allowed to say that, you're not allowed to believe in that. And they are being told this by weirdos, teachers and other people. I'm not saying all teachers are weird, I'm just saying it's teachers that are telling these people this, not the average person down the road. It's always someone in a civil service or somewhere like that who's telling people, oh, you can't do that. And it's never really your neighbour. I mean, neighbours have turned on each other, but it's through this fear. And people need to realise sticking together is the biggest form of power you got. If people really do agree that knowledge is power, then you understand that poor people gain their knowledge by sticking together. We don't gain knowledge through having money, because we don't have that kind of money. We gain knowledge by solidarity, and messages can pass through us like lightning, and knowledge can pass through us like lightning. That's where our strength is, which is why we've got to stop curtain twitching over our neighbours and realise that they're probably in the same position we are, not knowing what they can and can't say, not knowing who isn't watching them, ready to make a phone call. You know, that is what it was like for people living in Soviet Russia, you know, and in Maoist China. In China, Mao said to everybody, listen, we want all the scholars, teachers, everybody, every educated and uneducated person in this country that has something to say about, you know, the way the country's run. We want you you know, in our great leap forward. We want you to come and tell us, write it down, make your cases for how we can make the country better, so that we can move forward together as a country. We can take the best and brightest ideas and move forward. So some of the best and brightest in the country stood forward and wrote out all these really amazing ideas and criticisms and everything else of the country. And it was an exercise that hadn't really been done before, because it wasn't allowed in China. So a lot of people turned up. Those people were hunted down, rounded up and killed. And there were thousands of them, if not millions. They were hunted down, rounded up and killed. Dissenters, anybody with a dissenting voice, killed immediately. Now, admittedly, we're not in that bad a state, but that's the mindset. That's the mindset that we're drifting into. And that is, you know, this is what these countries are like. Living in these countries was like. That's why people ended up looking over their shoulder, looking out the window. So if you read 1984, it's really what it's trying to depict. A state like North Korea, a state where you're so afraid you're smiling all the time, even when you're alone indoors, because you don't know what's watching you, you know. And that is a place where you could never really think for yourself, and you can never really be yourself. That's what many people, that's what many of our countrymen are asking for willingly right now. I don't know if they realise that's what it will feel like when we get there, but they are willingly asking for that into our country, both via Islam and communism, and just the way they're selling out our country. So, you know, I don't know. It's sad, but it's the way it is. Anyway, so I'm sorry it's been a bit disjointed today, but I just wanted to make sure that I don't want to come on days when I've got nothing to say. And at the same time, I don't want to say I'm going to be here if I'm not going to be. So it's a fine balance between those two things. But I like to do videos like this, but I also then like to go away and do some smartened up videos. So if I do too much of one, it tends to bug me a little bit. So, but I'm working with the best I got at the moment. And as I said, hopefully health will improve. It's only a blip. So, and I think that I was a bit gutted because the Southampton, where I was going over to cover the stuff, that's now stopped. I think they've stopped doing any action over there until the new year. So I don't think I'm going to, which is a shame, because I was hoping we'd broken the target I was trying to get to for this year, because I had a very low target of things I was going to get to, and I've actually broken it as a result, because I didn't think I was going to be able to do as much as I've done. The downside of it being is that, yeah, I was hoping that we'd have just a few more weeks to be able to get some stuff done, and I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to get anything else done. I'm going to try, but it may be that we've done the last reporting out in the field we're going to do in 2025. But I will keep trying in case. I want to fit one more in if I can. But we'll see. I'll see what's going on. The only other thing I know of is going on is Dover, and I can't get to Dover at the moment. So we'll see what happens. But if there's anything I think that's important enough and I can show you, I will definitely do so. And that's where we'll be able to show to the newer people as well how we deal with demos and stuff like that. How we don't agitate. How we really take in what's going on. Yeah, we will argue back with people who attack us, but not to the point of violence or anything. We just try and have a debate if it's possible, and if it's not possible, we walk away. Just walk away, or hold the line. You know what I mean? But you won't see agitation coming from us. I hate it, to be honest with you. There's no need. You know, you've got the story you're covering when you go into these places. These people that you're going up against, they're nuts. They're absolutely nuts. Why people feel they need to go and agitate and that? I mean, I know why they're doing it, for clicks and views. But put the camera on these people. They're nuts. We went to one in Bournemouth. The lefties are getting more emboldened, becoming more like the ones in America. One of them got an electric bike and rode it straight into the crowd of us. It didn't get close to me, but hurt people. Just rode an electric bike into the crowd because they didn't like the fact that they were there, because they wanted, and did it under justification of calling them all racist. And then people down the bottom would try and do the same thing, trying to, not with bikes, but trying to attack people. Not one of us committed a single act of violence or even anything like it. Like, most of the time we never do, unless it's those people with the cameras, but generally speaking, most don't. These people are disgusting. They are absolutely disgusting, you know, and they've now got to a level now where they're just prepared to get on an electric bike and ride it into a crowd of people. Now, bear in mind, some people bring their kids in that because they're told it's family friendly. When they're riding these bikes into this crowd of people, they can't see what they're riding into. It's a blind crash. So if there's a kid there or a puppy or anything, they wouldn't know. Only find that out once they've hit it. If any of us on the right did that, we would quite rightly be dragged away and locked away. These people are escorted away from the area and told to leave. So these people that do go and create all these situations do my head in, because there's plenty of real situations that need covering, because they are actual news. People being absolutely mistreated needs to be reported on. If you're too busy agitating and sticking sticks in people, then you're not going to notice the actual important stories of the day. So hopefully we'll show you some of that coming up as we do cover some more stuff, you know, especially down south. It's an area that is being covered but hasn't been covered well enough, so something we're going to keep doing. So I'm going to call it a day there. Thanks for coming on, guys, and it's great to see Helen, Joan, obviously you guys back again as well, and Captain, always a pleasure to see you. All gear, no idea. And anybody else who might see this later on replay, sorry if you didn't get a notice for this one. This was sort of last minute decision to do this live. Like I said, there is one scheduled for tomorrow. The time's rough, and then there will be one I'll schedule for Thursday, which the time on that one will be exact, and we'll go from there. And as I said, any updates on the videos and anything else, I will let you know. In the meantime, I am Tom Fury. This is Zero News. And oh, by the way, and thanks for being patient with the Prism and everything else. I really do appreciate it. And we will get things up and going properly. I'm Tom Fury. This is Zero News. I'm calling it a day for now. Thanks, guys.